Hakadosh, Boker Or, Masechet Sotah Daf Zayin Amud Aleph, 27:8-1. We just said Amar Shmuel. Shmuel comes and he says, Yisa Adam Duma, Ve'al Yisa Bat Duma. Do you know it's better to get married to a woman that everyone is saying that she's Mizana, right? But don't get married to a daughter of a woman like this. Shezo ba mitipa kshera, because the Duma herself, at least she came from a kosher relationship, right? Hopefully, but she came from a kosher relationship. Ve'enzo ba mitipa psula, but the daughter, right, comes from a tipa psula, because maybe Be'emet she came from a goy or from a mamzer or from a. Because if the ima was prutza, if the mother was already prutza, so then at least this one, the wife. Listen, it could be that she's fooling around, but hopefully she actually did come from a good relationship. But the daughter, you already know what's going on. So it's better to get married to the woman that this is the way that it is, and not from the daughter. Rabbi Yochanan says, no. Yisa Adam bat Duma, val Yisa Duma. No, it's better to get married to the bat Duma, but not the Duma herself. He says, why? Shezo omedet b'cheska kashrut. Because the daughter has a cheska kashrut. What does that mean? At the end of the day, right, she still has a cheska kashrut that she's not psula. So, and as long as she's kosher, what do I care about the mother? The mother could be a zona or whatever it is. But fine, but she's kosher. V'zo, but this one, he comes and he says, Ena omedet b'cheska kashrut. This one, you already know what she's doing. She's fooling around. So she doesn't have cheska kashrut. So it's machloke between Rabbi Yochanan and Shemuel. Says the Gemara, today we're going to ask the following question. Nose Adam Duma, right? What does that mean? You see from here that there's no problem of getting married to a Duma, and not like Rabbi Yochanan. That Rabbi Yochanan said you should get married to a Bat Duma instead of the Duma. He says, right? That's what is this. So Amar Rava comes and answers. V'tizbra is logical to say that what Nose lechatchila, ela im nasa. We're only talking about if you already got married to her, not lechatchila. Meaning, you think that a person should lechatchila get married even to a Duma? For sure not. So therefore, we're talking about if a person already got married to her. So if you already got married to her, he's allowed to stay married to her. Right? Satana, Batuma. So the exact same thing happens with Batuma, like Rabbi Yochanan. Meaning it's not a din lechatchila. Lechatchila, you're not allowed to get married to a Duma. Not allowed to get married to a Batuma. But if you already got married to a Duma, you already got married to a Batuma. It's the same thing.
So what is it? These
women
will never...
Yeah? So what is the halacha? The halacha is Yisa Adam bat Duma, Ve'al Yisa Duma, which means like Rabbi Yochanan. A person should get married to the bat Duma and not the Duma herself. The Tani of Tachlifa bar Marava kamed Rabbi Avu. The starter of Tachlifa bar Marava in front of Rabbi Avu, right? He comes and he says, right? Isha mezana banei ksherim. Even if you do have a woman that she herself is mizana, her children are still going to be kosher, right? He says, why? Rov beilot achar ba'al. The majority of the relations go after the husband. And therefore, since we say that the majority of the beilot go after the husband, so therefore we're going to say that she probably got pregnant from him, right? And therefore, right, if we're going to say that, so we're not going to say that the Batuma is not kosher. We're going to say, yeah, she did come. You're right. She was fooling around, 100%. She was fooling around. But for sure, it's better to get married, right, to the Duma, right? That's what he's saying over here. It's better to get married to her than to get married to the Duma, which she and herself is actually going to do all these things. So that's exactly like Rabbi Yochanan. That means it's better to come to get married to a Bat Duma. Fine. 1 second, right? By Rav Amram. So comes now Rav Amram, and he's going to ask the following question. Haita prutza bioter mahu. Fine. Until now, we were talking about a regular woman, but we know that she's the prutza. What happens if she's prutza bioter? Which means, right, do we also say in a woman that she's prutza bioter that rov beilot go after the Baal? Or maybe behemet rov beilot are by other men? Because you already know that this woman is such a prutza that bichlal, meaning even if a woman's a prutza, fine, but at least there's probably still majority by the husband. What happens if this woman, the majority is probably not by the husband? What do we say then? So says the Gemara, Aliba de Manda Amar, according to the Manda Amar, any Shamitaberet ela samuch levesta, that a woman will only become pregnant, right? Samuch levesta. So loti bailecha. So then what's going to happen is, if we're going to come and we're going to say that a woman will become pregnant right? Whether it's going to be samuch levesta or samuch letfilata, as we remember already, the concept was the ovulation, that she's only going to do it, that's when she's going to become pregnant. So, delo yadaba, right? Because he doesn't know matayom vesta velo mintala. So therefore, he cannot stop that she will not become pregnant with znut on that time. So when is the safek then? Aliba de mandamar, according to the mandamar, any isha mitaberet al smuch letvilata, right? Which means that the woman will become pregnant during the time of the tevilah, whether it's going to be the day of the tevilah or the day afterwards. So what's halacha in such a case? Kevin diadaba, but since at the end of the day he knows when is her tevilah, natur mintala. So then he could make sure that she's not going to be pregnant with znut, because that way, and therefore all the children will be kosher. Well, or maybe given the prutza biotem, maybe since she's such a prutza, he cannot watch her, which means that we don't actually even know, because that's basically the machloket, right, of what's going on here. So answers the Gemara, teiku. What does teiku mean? We don't have an answer. Here in the footnote, he does say that the majority of the poskim, they actually go lachmir in such a case. Nevertheless, they say that the kavanah is not that they're bioterim mamash safek mamzerim, right, which are going to be asurim with the Rabbanan level bekal, but we're choshim lahem lechatchila for mamzerut. That's the explanation, right? And also is that even if she's going to be prutza bioter, she's still going to be believed to say that her children are from her husband. And the Gemara says, 1 second, but if the woman's not in front of us, then what do we do? But again, this is since it came out with a teiku, which means we don't have a direct answer, right? So therefore, that's what's actually happening. It says, ve'elu shebeddin, right? Mikanim lehem. There are certain women, the beddin do the kinui, okay? And we spoke about it, okay? So he comes and he says, like, there's somebody that became, whether it's a deaf mute or he became crazy or he's locked up in jail, because basically the guy doesn't know what's going on and she's fooling around. So therefore the beddin will come and they will do the kinui. Tana Rabbanan, we learned in a Braita, ish, right? When it says ish kitiste ishto, matomara ish. What does it mean now, ish? You understand? It already says a man, when he's going to come and he's going to start hating his wife because of what she does. But what does it say, man? Ish kitiste ishto. לרבות אשת חרש, ואשת שוטה, ואשת שעמום, ושהלך בלה למדינת הים, ושיהיה חבוש ואת הסורין, שבדין מקנין להם. It says it's coming to include a deaf mute, a wife of a person that he's not 100% there, or eshet shiamum, which is also timon levav. There's a whole thing about this, right? What are we referring to exactly? Right? Shalach bala medinat hayam, right? That the husband went to the diaspora, or that he's stuck in jail. The betin come and they do the kinui leposam mituvatan in order to come and make them pasul for the ketubah. So yachol aflash kotan. Okay, so 1 second. If they're already doing the kinui, so give them to drink as well. So Tamulumar comes teach you, the man has to bring his wife to the Kohen. So therefore, it cannot be done through the Bedin, meaning the Bedin could do this as a deterrent and is to make her lose her ketubah. But they cannot come and bring her to drink. It says, the man has to bring his wife. So the Bedin cannot do that. Rabbi Yossi says, no. The Bedin could come and make her even drink. What's the case? For example, let's say he comes out of jail, or here it brings down whether it's going to be in Tosefta or whatever it is, or he gets out of the craziness, or he gets out of the deaf mute again. Now he could give her to drink. Al smach ma, al smach what she drank because of the bedin. So says the Gemara. So this is a machloke between Rabbi Yossi and the Tanakama. Okay. Is there a statute of limitations? I do not know. It does not bring down here. I'm not sure. Right? Obviously, we're not talking about 20 years later, but I'm saying, but even if it's going to be a little bit of time later, right? Again, obviously, we're not talking about also that they didn't have relations in between, obviously. Yeah?
It's kind of
so, 1 second, right? So he says, so what is the machloke then between the Tanakama and Rabbi Yossi? Rabbanan savre, Rabbanan hold, ba'inan v'kineh v'hevi. Chachamim hold that the Tanai has to be that since it's written in proximity, v'kinet ishto in pasuk 14, and then in pasuk tedvav 15 it's written ve'avia ishet ishto. The fact that the kinu in the hava'ah they're brought down together, only the one that is mikaneh is the one that could bring his wife. Meaning, it says v'kinet ishto, and it's written ve'avia ishet ishto, and it's one after another. So therefore, according to what we're saying here, Chachamim hold that the same one that does the kinui is the one that has to bring somebody. It's just like the one that's bringing her. So it's the one that does the kinui. That's the shita of the chachamim. Rabbi Yosef holds lo ba'ina v'kinevevi. You don't need this tnai, right? Why? Because the hava could be done dafka l'idei mekane, which means that no, it could be done through somebody else. Meaning the kinui could be done through the bedin, and then the hava could be done through the husband, and therefore he's posek. And no, bedin could make the kinui, and after the bedin come and they make their kinui, now the husband could afterwards come and bring the woman to the bedin to drink. We learned in a Braita. What are we referring to? Lakish ish liisha, isha leish. What does that mean? The fact that it says this is Torah Knaot, whether it's going to be isha tachat isha v'nitmea, so it's a kesh. What does that mean? They're both equal. What does that mean now? The Ma'ilchata, Amar Rav Sheshat, Keshem sheimhu suma lo yamashka, tichti v'ne'ela me'inei isha, kachi im hayta suma, right? Lo hayta shota. Meaning, if he's blind, right? But he still suspects her of being with her. Why? He's hearing certain things. But he comes and he wants to do the kinui, and now she's nistira. She does not drink. Because it says, V'ne'ela me'inei isha, that she's secluding herself from the eyes of her husband. So too, if she was a suma, she wouldn't drink as well. Why? Because she's a suma, so they're both equal. Meaning, just like it says that she hid from her husband, and therefore if he's blind, right, she doesn't drink. Same halacha, flip it. If she's blind, he doesn't drink.
Okay. Why is it, Rabbi? What is the
reason to do that? It's a pasuk. Yeah, Ravashi comes and he says, Keshem shechigeret v'gidemet lo hayta shota. Just like if she cannot stand on her feet, right? So she does not drink. It says in a pasuk, Kav Zayin Mubet, ve'emida kohen et ha'isha lifnei Hashem. He has to stand her up. When it's written ve'emidota, she has to be standing up. She cannot stand. She's a chigeret. So therefore, right, v'natan al kapea, he has to give it to her on her palms, which comes to be memaet agidemet. What does that mean? I mean, she needs her body and not the way that she is with her body. So too, right, if the husband was a chiger or gidem, lo yamashka, right, he wouldn't make her drink as well. Which means that we're trying to make it equal. That again, all these things you keep on saying, that there's certain rules and criteria. If you fit the criteria, I could follow through. If it does not fit for the criteria, I cannot follow through. This is not a testing, right? By the way, even by testing, you see this, right? I want to come and I want to give somebody a test. What's the test? You see it in many ways. For example, right? You want to give a test of a COVID test. A person that just had a flu, he can't get the COVID test. Why? Because he's going to have very similar symptoms, very similar, that they won't actually come, they won't be able to read it. So it's not a good test. You could give it, but it just doesn't work. It's not a good test. So therefore, you're just going to say, don't even give it. And they do that in many different things in life, right? There are certain tests that right now it doesn't help by giving you that test because it just doesn't happen. You understand? A person delusional, this, that, even, the polygram test, right? The test of, whether you're saying the truth or not, there has to be certain criteria. Because the second that I see certain criteria, even though this is meant to tell you something, it doesn't happen. Okay? And that's why it's very, very, very important. More about Ravashi says, just like a woman that she's deaf mute, she's mute, does not drink, because it's written, she'll say amen. If she does not answer amen, so if it does work. So therefore, so too he, if he was an ilem, also he would not drink it. Hadran alach arusa. So we just finished the 4th chapter of arusa, and now we're going to start the next chapter. The next chapter is Perek Chamishi. Okay, Kav Zayin Mubet, 5th chapter. Keshem shamayim botkin otah, kach hayu amayim botkin oto. Are you listening? Just like meaning that this is a double-edged sword. Yeah? What does that mean? Right? That, no. They would check the boel, not the husband, the boel, the one that's cheating on with her. No, he wouldn't come, but any place where he was, his stomach and his yerech would also fall.
Without drinking.
It's a power. Remember we spoke about this, that a woman would come and she would drink, or even it could be even the smelling of it, and it comes inside and then that's it, and then it goes complete. Here, something incredible. It's coming out that she drinks the water. The second that she drinks, if she was guilty, she explodes. The guy that cheated with her also explodes. Shneimar, it says in a pasuk, uvau hamayim, uvau hamayim. It says uvau hamayim, uvau hamayim. It says it actually 3 times in the Torah in Parashat Sotah. In Psukim Kavbet, Kavdal, and Kavzayin. So you got 22, 24, and 27. It says uvau hamayim. The water comes inside of her. So the Gemara is going to come and going to explain each of these things. So it says, right? Okay, the Gemara will explain, not the Mishnah. But basically, since it says it twice, so it's coming into her, so it's kilu, it's coming into him as well. Keshem shasura labal, kach asura laboel. Just like she was prohibited to the husband, she's prohibited to the boel. What does that mean? If the husband dies or the husband divorces her, right? So therefore, what happens is she cannot get married to this guy. Meaning, imagine right now, the husband does kinui. There's stira, he's taking her to the Bet HaMikdash, he drops dead. He just with all the trauma of what's going on, drops dead. So now she's going to say, Baruch Shepetarani. Yeah, she doesn't have to drink, but she cannot get married to the guy that she was suspected with. Right? Why? Because what we just mentioned now. Right? No, that she's going to be prohibited to the husband and also to the boel. Which means it doesn't just say nitmea, it says venitmea also. So from the extra vav, they learn that it's also asura to the boel. So that's where they're learning it from this extra vav. Okay? There's a whole question here about that if the isur of the boel is talui be isur of baal or not. So if the boel is nesar because that she caused the husband to become prohibited to her, so let's say she didn't cause him. For example, she was nensa, and the husband is not a kohen. So is the boel mutar or not? You understood the question? Meaning, like, is the reason why is because you got a taste of your own medicine? So if you just prohibited the husband onto her, so now you're also prohibited to her? Or what happens if the husband was not prohibited to her? For example, let's say this guy comes and he violates her. Is she prohibited to the husband?
No.
To the Kohen, yes, but if it's not a Kohen, no. So is she still permitted to this boel? Don't ask me why she would ever get married to him, but theoretically, meaning, is the reason because what goes around comes around, meaning you prohibited her to her husband, so now you are also prohibited to her, or it has nothing to do with it. But that even if you didn't prohibit her to the husband, the fact that you went with her, you're already prohibited. So that's a chakira that they actually ask. Okay, but these are the words of Rabbi Akiva. Amar Yoshua says of Yoshua, this is what Zechariah ben Katzav used to come and make a drasha like Rabbi Akiva from the extra vav, venitmea. But Rabbi says it's not because of the vav. Rather, shnei pa'amim amurim b'parasha, it's written twice, nitmea venitmea, Hechal laba, Hechal laboel. So there's machloket, do we learn it from the extra vav, from nitmea venitmea, or the fact that it's written twice, nitmea, she becomes tmea. Tmea to who? Once it's written for the husband, and once it's written for the boel, fine.
But if she was violated, she's not.
Fine. Bo bayom, the same day that they appointed Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah as the Nasi, the Rabbi Akiva came and he also made a dirasha as well. Remember, this was the famous case of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, the 18-year-old that he became the Nasi instead of Rabbi Gamliel, right? Because they took him down and then they opened up the Bet HaMidrash. So Rabbi Akiva came and he expounded also the pasuk to do with Kli Cheres that came inside of it, a sheretz met. So we were just learning this, right, recently. So imagine right now you have an earthenware utensil, and inside of the earthenware utensil comes a sheretz which dies. So it says, which means if the sheretz comes and it dies, which is an avatuma, and it comes inside of the avid, inside of the airspace of the kli cheres, the kli becomes a rishon letuma. And then the kli will come and make the ochlim and the other things which are inside of it, shneim. So one more time. It comes and it makes the keli tameh. And once the keli is tameh, and the keli becomes a rishon, because the sheretz is an av, so the keli becomes an arishon, the food which is inside the keli, right, becomes a sheni, okay, or the food of liquid. En omer, the pasuk does not say, kol asher b'tocho tameh, ela yitma. What does yitma means? Yitma is like yitame, you could say. It doesn't say that anything which falls inside of it is tameh. Kol asher b'tocho yitma. Yitma, you could read it yitame. Yitame means it's going to be yitame other things. Meaning it's not receiving, it's actually giving off as well. Limed al kikar sheni shemetame tashlishi. So this is going to teach you that if you have a piece of bread which is going to become tameh, to become a sheni, that it's going to make a shlishi in tum'ah for truma, or even in chulin, to become a shlishi. Which means the fact that it says yitma means it could be yitame other things. So it could continue the chain, as they say. The buck doesn't stop here. If you remember, we learned this in Chagiga. So Amar Rabbi Yoshua says, Rabbi Yoshua, mi egale afar me'enecha, right? So when he heard these words, he went and he said, who's going to reveal the afar from your eyes? Yochanan ben Zakkai. Yochanan ben Zakkai. Right? That means basically the Tchiyat HaMetim, basically. Right? So he comes and he says, so halvai that somebody would come and actually come back to do Tchiyat HaMetim to actually hear this drasha of Rabbi Akiva. So he said that's what it means that he's going to be Megalei Afar. So he says why? Sha'ita omer atid dor acher etar kikar shlishi. Do you know there's going to be another generation, right? That they were going to come and they were going to purify, right? Even a kikar shlishi. She'en lo mikam min haTorah shu tameh, but there's no pasuk that's going to make it tameh. V'lo Rabbi Akiva tamidecha, and Rabbi Akiva, your talmid, right? Mevilo mikam min haTorah is bringing the pasuk shu tameh. Shneimar kol asher b'tocho yitma. So then it says why? Because Rabbi Akiva is your student, right? He's the one. The Masechet Rabbi Akiva, it says over here, was not really the student of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, but rather the student of Eliezer ben Hurkanos, which was a student of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, right? But because Rabbi Akiva was such a important person, they said Talmidecha, even though it's like a Talmid of a Talmid, because it's like two generations, you understand? But it doesn't matter. But they still brought it down. Bo Bayom, the same day also, that Rabbi Akiva came and he said, this is talking about the gvulot of the cities of the Levim in Eretz Yisrael. This is the only one of the Karnei Farah in the Torah, right? Where it says over here, and the other pasuk says, so are you going the 2,000 amot, or are you going the 1,000 amah? What's going on exactly? So you can't say 1,000 amah. You already said 2,000, but you can't say 2,000 amah because you already said 1,000 amah. So what's going on exactly? What's the case exactly to answer it up? Elef amah migrash. They used to give 1,000 amah around the cities of the Levim for migrash, which is basically that they put, right, for the, without houses, that they put for trees and all these things for the beauty of the city. Meaning outside of the city, they're going to leave 1,000 amot for the beauty of the city. But 2,000 amot is for the Tchum of Shabbat. Eliezer ben Beno shel Rabbi Yosef Galilei omer, Eliezer the son of Yosef Galilei says, 1,000 amah migrash, 2,000 amah sadot ukramim. He says, it's going to be 1,000 amah for the migrash, but then the 2,000 amot, right, are addition, right? It's 1,000 amah additional, right? That's why together it's going to be 2,000, which is for sadot uchramim. That means nothing to do with how do you call this? To do with Tchum Shabbat. You're putting sadot uchramim, vineyards of fields, and everything within the extra 1,000 amot. Bo bayom derash Rabbi Akiva, right? The same also day Rabbi Akiva came and he said, he made a derasha in Shirat Hayam. Az yashir Moshe ubnei Yisrael. What does it mean, lemor? What does it mean? Right? Lemor. What is lemor now? Lemor is to say to somebody else. So, lemor. It comes out that Moshe was saying it, and they were answering. Al kol davar davar, on every single thing. Just like they do the Hallel. Meaning many times, we do like that. We actually do a little bit more of not answering, but of like what we do in the Amidah, which is, for example, he does half and we do half, or we do this and they do that. But the Ashkenazim, they actually repeat, mamash. One thing, repeat. One thing, repeat. So it's a mamash like a repetition. So he says kikonim ta'alel. So he says the kach ne'eman. That's why it's written lemor, because the lemor is teaching us that the Moshe Rabbeinu said, and then we repeated. He said, we repeated. Nehemiah Omer, Rabbi Yochanan says, Kikurin Shema. Just like they say the Shema, with the Shliach Tzibur, that he starts, and then the Tzibur answer after him. Not like the Hallel, that the Tzibur don't answer him afterwards, just only parts of it. It means basically there's a machloket, how much do you actually repeat in the Hallel. Bo bayom derash Rabbi Yeshua ben Hurkanos, right? Also, there's the last one of the Mishnah, where Rabbi Yeshua ben Hurkanos also made a derasha. Lo avad Iyov et HaKadosh Baruch Hu ela me'ava. Do you know that the reason why Iyov was serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu was from love? Avat makom. So he says, why? Shenema says the pasuk, Hen yikteleni lo ayachel. Even if it is, that even if he's going to kill him, he's referring to himself, obviously, lo ayachel. He still is looking forward to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'adayin davar shakul, and it's still in a safek without a achra'ah, right? Because you know why? Because there's a machloket, not a machloket, but there's a kriyuktiv exactly. Is it lo ayachel, lo with an aleph, or lo with a vav? Lo with an aleph means to him I'm looking forward to. Lo ayachel means I'm not looking forward to. So therefore, that's why lo ani mitzapeh, which means that he's doing it from love, right? That means to him I'm looking forward to, I'm waiting for, or maybe it's for the negative. Lo ayachel any mitzapeh, meaning I'm only doing it from yirah. So Talmud Lomar comes to teach you, adegva lo asitu mati mimeni. What does that mean? Until the death or whatever it is, that he's not going to remove the tumimut from him. So he's doing it from Ava. So Rabbi Yeshua says to Yeshua Machananya, who's going to take off the Rebbe Chaim ben Zakkai? He says that it was all from Yira. Shneimar ish tam yashad yireh lokim v'samna. It's pasuk mifurash. V'alo Yeshua tamid tamidecha. Look at Yeshua. Here it is written tamid tamidecha. Right? It's interesting. So right, the Talmid of your Talmud. Right? That's what it says. Because Rabbi Yeshua ben Kanos was a Talmid of Rabbi Akiva. So if Rabbi Akiva was a Talmid of Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai, even though he said it wasn't, it was a Talmid also there. But still, so therefore, Rabbi Yeshua, he says, Limen Shema Avasa. Fine. Says the Gemara, Oto. What does that mean? The waters are going to check the man, the boel. What do you mean it's going to check the man? Leman. What's the kavanah? Who are they checking? Ilem al Baal. Well, if you're going to say it's the husband, Baal, what did the husband do? The husband didn't do anything. Now, if you're going to say, Did be'avon bad kilemaya, what happens right now if he has a sin? Is it going to check him? What does it mean? That means if the husband himself did the sin, do you think that it's going to check it? It's not true. Because the Gemara is going to explain tomorrow the entire concept of whether it will check him.